welcome to another show of Beyond the Last Man. As you can see, we have a new member in our team. I just want to say hello to Lottie. She is Aussie's friend from the UK, a regular WSL goer and a vivid Arsenal fan as well. So, which is great to see. And we have our old kind of not panel nearly now with Ian. And again, Craig is back after a bit of absentees, and he's sitting in for Brandon today. Hello Lottie, nice to meet you. And maybe you want to introduce yourself to the rest of the gang here.
Oh, yeah. Hi boys. Obviously, Martin's just said my name's Lottie. I've been the WSL fan for the last 2 seasons. I kind of come across them when things were bad, starting off with Brentford, and followed by City, and it was just a saving light. I got to the point where I didn't want to watch the men because we were just shambles. But haven't missed a game since that. During my first real season going last season, because I'm literally where I live in London. I'm bang smack in the middle of Meadow Park and the Emirates, so it's about 30-40 minutes each way on public transport, which is absolutely, well, it's a blessing for me, because Martin was saying to me earlier that you guys have got a long day trip if you do come over.
Yeah, day trips, they're not nice.
Yeah.
No.
Just
I did hear about your last one when you came over for Tottenham.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, but I've been an Arsenal fan since 2001. My first game was the men's game. It was a 1-0 against Man United. Thierry Henry scored. I was in the lower west stand for that game in Highbury.
Good stuff. Great. Yeah, it's as I said, it's great to have somebody here, like who's actually at the games. As I said, we have Aussie on the other side who is doing the men's team, and we meet them sometimes. We go and hopefully as well, it's like we are planning the way things go now. We can't get tickets for the men's game. We might have to go to the women's team to get even football in London. I don't know. We are planning to do this anyway. As I said before COVID, we were supposed to go over. Katie actually asked us to come over as a group, then COVID put a whole hold to this. So, but I'm pretty sure we will arrange something, and hopefully with this channel, we're gonna raise even more awareness and see how it goes. So this is what we're trying to do. Again, like we were just talking about it, like it's nearly the last game of the season for a couple of weeks anyway, just before we break up for the World Cup. It's such a strange kind of thing. For even the women are going on international break now, so the next game for the women is only going to be against Man United in the Emirates, and I think it's the 19th of November, isn't it? Yeah.
Yep.
So that's going to be like in the Emirates, and I think 40,000 tickets sold already, so which is really, really good. But yeah, like it's going to be, I don't know, we had like 15 games in a month, and now we're not going to have anything for the next 6 weeks, which is absolutely
crazy.
It is really bad. But look, what we're going to do is I'm going to actually start with the Europa League. Then we're going to put the women's result in and see how we go with the women. And then we're going to do like the preview for the Brighton game tomorrow, which is not on telly, but we're trying to figure out the link, and we're going to post some links in social media if we do find something. And say, first of all, again, thanks for all the viewers, the subscribers. We're nearly about 2,700 subscribers now. We got more views on our channel than we did on the other podcast. So like Jonathan doesn't like to hear it, but like we are actually better. We actually get more likes as well. So
that's it.
That's what it is, And we try to keep it that way. So if you just like, comment, and subscribe, that'd be absolutely fantastic. And we're gonna keep this going, So basically, what we're doing at the moment, we're doing at the Europa League as well, because there was so many games going, and thank God we had a lucky 1-0. I don't know if it's a lucky 1-0, but like we all talked about like, it's Zurich, that's a thing. Every game is tough, and it just showed like that it was a tough game. Zurich had to play for something. I think that was the whole aim for it. They changed manager, so it was all kind of a bit thing. But thank God we made that 1-0 with a great goal from Kieran Tierney, and I was so happy for him that he scored that belter, because like I think that guy really needs a bit of encouragement as well, because he's not getting his first team in the Premier League. But look, he's playing well. But I thought when he scored it was 17th minute, I thought like this is it. We're gonna score 3-4 goals. And that's it. But obviously it wasn't to be. Thank God they had a goal disallowed for offside. And it was a bit like which I don't like, like sitting on my nails, and it was just like, really, this is the Europa League. But in the end, I think it was all worth it. We avoided these games in February, and we can sit back now till March and wait what's coming to us, because I'm looking at Man United playing Barcelona, not the best. So I'm just going to start. I'm actually going to start with you, Lottie. You've probably seen it as well. Like when you're watching the men's game as well. What did you make of that last game, and what did you think of the whole performance in the Europa League anyway?
Do you know what? It's actually been quite nice to just turn up to the games, because I'm at the home games. It's very rare I go to away games now. Just turn up to the home games, and as long as the crowd turns up and you've got the right crowd, I know we'll be fine. I will say the European crowds are so much different to what you see in the Premier League. There's a lot more Spurs songs sung for some reason, and it's not very impressive. It's kind of irritating. But in terms of team performance, as long as the fans are behind them, I've got nothing to worry about. Normally my main concern is Granit Xhaka, but he is a different player this season. I will admit I'm one of his biggest critics. When it goes wrong, I've always known that he's got he's got a red card in him. It's there, but I haven't seen one this season, so I'm very, very pleased with him, and I just want him to continue going the way he is. The rest of the team is just a well-oiled machine, and it's doesn't matter what form, who's put where. I know that will be fine, because the confidence is there. We're on a roll, and it's just nice to be able to enjoy Arsenal football again, the Arsenal way.
Yeah, 100%. In the Europa League, probably we had, it's kind of second string teams out, but like we still kind of performed. The only game I think we really had like a little bit of down was the PSV game in Eindhoven. Like it just didn't. I don't know if he didn't take it serious enough and said, okay, a point might be enough, but it was one of these games. But one of the most irritating thing about Thursday's game was like the Zurich drum. Oh my God, I don't know if it was just me. Like I know we had like maybe in the Irish TV what we had is they must have been having the microphone right next to that bloody drum, and it was just going through my head. And I tried the settings on the telly just to put the bass down. It was just annoying. I can just imagine what that is like in the stadium. Because you probably it's even more amplified, So
we've actually got our own one in the clock end. The Ashburton Army have got one, so don't sit in the clock end lower tier. Whatever you do, it will drive you mad.
Yeah, it's just one of these this kind of numbing sounds, isn't it? Kind of thing. But yeah, look,
I totally get it. But with the amount of fans in the clock end, you won't hear. You can hear it, but it won't be like the Zurich one. I can promise you.
Yeah, like especially I never heard it on the television like that, but like they must have really had the microphone next to it. Anyway, yeah. So what do you think, guys? About I kind of start with Ian. What did you think of the game on Thursday?
Yeah, I think it was a lot tighter than I think I was expecting it to be. I think we had spoke the previous week. I think we had predictions of 3-1 and like kind of cruise control and early, and I think it was anything but really. But I think you kind of hit the nail on the head, Martin. You kind of you have to take each game as it comes and like understand every game is game by game really. You have to just take each time that I suppose who you're playing. Like when you look at the way like PSV was away, like that was a game that we just didn't show up really. Like we just weren't at it, and I think whereas the game against Zurich was a game that's been very similar for Arsenal all season. Whereas we start off on fire and then it kind of dies down a bit, and then we start back on fire then kind of last kind of 15-20 minutes of the second half. And I think like there's probably an element of tiredness there. I think like we've played a hell of a lot of games this month. That's like between October and November, like that's going to take its toll on the players as well. I think that they won't admit it, but I'd say there's a lot of players like Xhaka and Jesus and Martinelli have one eye on the World Cup as well, and they're probably kind of looking at, I suppose, energy levels and not trying to be injured as well. So I think I think it was a good game. I think I was delighted for I'm mind blank here.
Tierney,
yeah. Like literally just mind blank with the amount of games that have gone on and who scored which.
I know,
It's a great goal for Tierney. I think he deserves it. He's really tried hard to get his way into the team, and I think it will give him the confidence that he needs. I think I agree with Lottie as well. I think Xhaka, I've not been his biggest fan, I'll be honest. He's cost us more times than he's won games for us in the past. So I think it's great to see that he's a completely different player this season. I do believe that there is a red card in him somewhere. Hopefully it's in a nothing game and not a massive game. But no,
it won't come at all.
Yeah.
Touch wood.
Please God, so I prefer that as well. But no, I think it was a good performance. I think I definitely have no nails left on my hand after that game for sure. I think every bit of chocolate in the house was gone from just absolute nervousness as well. It was mad. I agree with you with the drum as well. I felt like the World Cup had already started. I remember like the Vuvu sailors in the World Cup.
I just wanted to say in South Africa, like the Vuvu sailors were exactly like that, and said, "My God, like you know."
But no, look, I mean, it was brilliant. It's brilliant they got the win. We topped the group, and that was the main thing. So, no, good result.
Good stuff. What about yourself, Craig? You know, like you've not been in the show for the last couple of weeks. So, how do you feel like the whole the campaign was so far? How did it go? What do you think?
Yeah, just working as I couldn't get a mom, so glad to be back now tonight. I think overall, really played very well throughout the campaign. To be honest, I don't really think we came out with second gear. A lot of the second string played. The likes of Lekonga, Nelson, Fabio Vieira, Holden, Matt Turner. You know, Tierney. Unfortunately, now is probably part of the second string. You know, it's not really his fault. It's just Zinchenko's going fantastic with how good he's been. Tierney's still a smashing player, but I just think Zinchenko, the way we're playing out at the moment, suits us better in terms of Zinchenko coming into midfield and helping out Partey and Xhaka. I think the game last week, like you're kind of saying, I thought it was going to be a lot more than 1-0. Zurich are only, I think they're bottom of the table in the Swiss League, 9 points, minus 15 goal difference. I know they did get a new manager, so I think that was the second or third game that he had. I think they've got 2 decent results in the last game the last games they played in the Swiss League. So, obviously it wasn't going to be a 5 or 6-0, but I thought we might win 3 or 4-0. The first goal went in. I thought, here we go. The floodgates are going to open. Smashing goal with Tierney. We didn't really have lots of chances then after that. I remember one from Jesus. I think the keeper had made a good save. Our keeper. Jesus can't play a goal at the moment. But he's been amazing. He's been an amazing signing. I think it's 10 or 11 games now since he got a goal. But without him, we wouldn't be the team we are at the moment. I think the goals will come from I think it's very important we keep him, Partey and Saliba, especially fit. I think they're trying just the kind of spine of the team is the most important this year for us. I think obviously, like you were saying, it's very important to avoid the last 32. I think it is in Europa League now at the moment. Barcelona drawing each other is a great result for us, because obviously one of them are going to go out, and they're probably realistically the 2 main competitors we have left in it. I think going forward, we really should be winning this competition. I don't see anyone else that's going to really, to be honest, I'd say Barcelona might go through against Man United, hopefully. Obviously, either of them are probably the main rival, and then probably the likes of Sevilla and Juventus as well might be challengers for it. But I just think the way we're playing at the moment, we should be aiming to win it.
100%. I think it's a tough one because, when we look at Juventus and Barcelona and Man United, especially the ones that are coming down from the Champions League, they're teams like Juventus are not playing that great. You just really don't know where it is. It's always a bit, I think, it's difficult, to say, where we're going to go, and look at the World Cup is going to go. We don't know what kind of injuries we're going to have. I mean, definitely on paper, we're definitely one of the favorites to win it.
I think the only thing, Martin, is just, I don't know what the club will do or Arteta will do if we are still in the title race come March, April, May, because I think you might have to prioritise one.
Exactly, and that's what it is, and I hope look, if we are what's March, I think is the game is March 23rd. If we're still top of the league and we're still fighting for that, then I think we have all that. I think we shouldn't go for the Europa League. That's my thing. Play the games as they come, but like if we're in March still in the title race, I don't think we should go for the title. At least then we would guarantee that we are top 4 anyway, and I think that's the whole point about this year's campaign. It's not winning the title. I think if anybody would have said we're going to win the title, they would have all told you're crazy. Top 4 coming back in the Champions League. This is what we want to play. We want to play on Wednesday. We don't want to play on Thursdays. That's our main goal. And I think there's so many unknowns in this season with the World Cup, with all kind of what's coming on. We are us playing, so I'm maybe competing in 3 ends, 4 ends. You never know where we're gonna be, because we all say like there was a lot of games now in October. Like this World Cup is not gonna put in another 6 weeks in between, and then we're gonna have after the World Cup, it's gonna be even more games. So the games are gonna keep on coming, and we do have what we hope to do is if we are there. If we're still top of the league in January, I'm pretty sure that there will be some money being spent, because like they've seen it last year that they have to put some more people in it. We are a bit short in some ways on it. Even that I said, like when we've seen a few fringe players playing, like it can't be easy for them either that they only play in the odd game. You have your starting 11, and then they put in onto one game, and then they look at play together. It doesn't work like that. It's easier for a glued together 11 to play. And if you take some parts out, you can see it's just not running as smooth.
I think it's important, Martin, that we do buy 1 or 2 in January.
100%.
Years gone by, Arsenal have always been kind of 1 or 2 players short, where we don't make top 4, or don't get, we don't win the title. So hopefully that the club are looking at, maybe a centre mid and a winger, and saying, look, we get these 2 in January and challenge, because I feel like we're always 1 or 2 players short, and people keep saying, we're not going to win the league or whatever. Realistically, you probably won't win the league, but when is going to be a good time to challenge for the league? Newcastle are going.
And they said like at least if you give it a good go, like even if you run them till the end, like, and if you come second, at least you're in the top 4, and that's what you want to do. And I think the kind of the we all said like trust the process, like I think that's where the process is. I think we're just one step ahead of that where we're actually supposed to be, but like if we can get it there, and I think the owners are not stupid, they will see that there is potential there, and I think as well, because where we are in the league now, let's say like if we be 4th or 5th, grabbing around the 4th, whatever, it might be harder to attract people. But now that we are actually where we are, the way we play, and the people talk about us now, which is great. Pundits talking about us, giving us some chances, So that means as well, like managers from other teams or players from other teams, to say, look, if we can get into this Arsenal team, we're going to be some really, really good player. We could be a good player there, and it's a good system and everything. So I think we can attract already really good talent. We might not have the millions of like what other teams do. Maybe we do, I don't know. But like I think we should be able to buy somebody, and I think the next player we have to buy has to be a statement player again. It can't be a young player.
A lot of links to Mudryk still.
Yeah,
I just don't know how. I think they're looking for 65 million, but
yeah, look, if he's the player, like and there's a lot of talking about, like from the reporters, that that he's nearly an Arsenal player already. I don't know. We have to take everything with a pinch of salt. But I think he would be a really good, because that's the player we're actually missing. And then another defensive midfielder, I think that's the next key for it, And
I think we need to put a bid in for Tielemans as well. Like I think Tielemans will probably cost about 10 million. Do you know that kind of way? Like,
and he would be definitely like compared to, and I don't know if this is like a wanted thing what they did in the summer. Said like, why should we pay 25-30 million for him if he has only 1 year contract? Let him run out like to January, and then we get him in January for 10 million. I think that's clever business, and signing El Neni, even that he got injured, that kind of covered us somewhere. We knew we wanted to buy somebody in the end of it, but we just didn't go, and we didn't spend stupid money on somebody we didn't know. I don't know, Douglas Luiz or whatever he was. Like, would he have been really that player? Would we have needed him? I don't know. But
he probably would have been Lokonga's replacement. I think next year Lokonga will probably
go. Either he's going on loan, or like he might get some more game time in different cups. As I said, it's very tough for them players to go out and shine, because you're not going to be in the first team all the time. The few games you have, you've been pushed together with somebody else. So I'm not being too critical about them. They did their job. Look, I don't want to, but yeah, like there's definitely some better players to be had. That's one thing for sure. And if we can add to them, and then they even have to do more competition, then it's just going to be better for the players, And and one of the big problems as well, we said buy somebody, who are you going to buy? Who wants to sit on the bench? Nobody. You won't buy a good player and say like, well, you can't get into the starting 11. That's not going to happen either. So yeah, it is what it is. I'm just glad we avoided this last 32 scenario. The good thing as well is we're going to be seeded. We're not going to be playing against a team that's from the Champions League, which I find strange to say because doesn't mean that everything Champions League is gonna go through to the whatever. But at least we're gonna be at home in the second leg, so that's all the advantages, and that just shows you how important that game was that we actually won it. And even was a 1-0. It didn't matter, we would have qualified with the second, played another game, but we are seeded. We're going to be playing at home the second game. So all that makes sense, and it's going to be congested anyway. So any games you avoid, I think it's brilliant, it's good. So the games are going to be on the 16th to the 23rd of February. And I think the draw for it's going to be the 24th of February. So we're going to find out who we're going to play. It's going to be St. Patrick's Day weekend when that's going to be on.
When's that draw, Martin?
On the 24th of February. And the games are on 19th and 16th of March. So it's Patrick's weekend, So maybe we get a good game, I don't know, away somewhere. We never know. It might be Patrick's Day somewhere in, who we're going to look in Shakhtar Donetsk. you never know. We're never going to get Mudryk otherwise. Yeah. So look, it is one of these things, and I'm happy that we qualified. For me, the performances are just what they were. As I said, job done. That's really, really, really important. And see what happens in March, and then let's see where we are in the league. And then, look, it would be great if we could win it. But what would you prefer, top 4 or winning the Europa League? I just gotta ask Lottie, what do you think? What would you prefer?
I'll take either.
As
long as the football doesn't go bad, I'll take either.
I just don't want to happen what happened about 3 years ago, that we went into Europa League final. We put really all the eggs in one basket, because we had chances to go top 4, no problem, but we really tried to qualify for this final.
Yeah, but there's somebody else at the wheel this time round. That's what you need to remember. It's not
exactly. Yeah, that fella Una is for Villa now, isn't it? And he destroyed. He's back in the Premier League with a bang.
I don't even think we're gonna need to make that choice. And that's not me speaking with chest here. But I definitely think we're gonna get top 4. I think that's goes without saying. Just the football we're playing.
I agree.
And I think that we need to be taking the Europa League seriously. In Arsenal's past, our European, we haven't had a European Cup since God knows how long. Intertoto Cup, vibes you're nearly talking about. And I think definitely we need to just keep concentrating on the Europa League as much as the league. But I think more so in Europa League, because look, the main aim at the start of the season was to get top 4, and I think we will get that. And I think, look, we have a great chance with the way the draw is going with Barcelona facing United. I think there's a lot of big teams are going to get knocked out before we even have to think about them. And I think this is probably the best chance to win a European Cup, ever really that we've had. So I think definitely for me it would be Europa League, because I think top 4 is a no-brainer already.
Yeah. No, as I said, I just think it's if you win something, it's look, I always want to win a Europa League or a Champions League, that's always going to be thing. But then, if you decide what you want in Premier League or Europa League, then, if you're still in, let's say that, if you're still in a chance for winning the title, that might be, putting a little bit of thing. But look, I'm just going to look at the Wolves game or the Brighton game tomorrow. I don't want to even go further than that. We're all talking about, they're playing too many games. Them lads are 21, 22 years old. If they're talking about me playing 70 games a year, I wouldn't even play 1 game a year, never mind 70. So they're getting paid for it, handsomely for it. They're young as well, so I wouldn't have too much trouble, with them getting fatigued. You know, like I know like Saka played quite a lot of games, you know, over the last couple of years. And look, but that's what you're in the football, innit? I have to work 40 hours a week or even more. You know, and that's it. You know, like if I have to do something in the weekend, who cares about me? But yeah, but as I said, we can all be dreaming. Be nice to win the title and the Europa League. Yeah.
Martin, just on that topic of top four, I see our old pal Gary Neville is still saying Arsenal will get top four. He's still saying
won't get top four. Okay, yeah. Well, look, that's Gary Neville. Like,
I think that's
over that earlier on. He said he doesn't trust us to get top four still.
Why would he trust us? He's a Man United fan.
Exactly.
True,
yeah.
That's the first question out of my mouth. I just
look. It's controversy. Controversy sells. You know, like he knows exactly what he's doing. Like you know,
he's just being sulky, though. That's all it is. It's
exactly.
The thing is, there's not exactly one pundit in our corner at the moment, is there?
Yeah. Well,
they won't no Arsenal fans make headlines, so that's why he's saying it. I'd say.
Exactly, and that's what it is. And let's look at on the other side. Like if you would be an Arsenal player. And you know, like Spurs would be in that situation, you wouldn't tell them to be like that as well. So yeah, it is what it is. Like I don't give a shit what Neville says. We actually talking on the pitch at this moment. We're playing good football, and as long as that continues, you know, nothing strange happens. We shouldn't be worrying about anybody beside ourselves. And I think he's doing a really really good job. And yeah, so that's what it is. But like let's see what happens in Team 5. But before we come to the preview for tomorrow's game, because we have another cup to be into, we're just gonna review the women's game, going from one top of the league team to another top of the league team, which they're even more impressive in my opinion. They won I think 14 games now in a row since they lost the last game against Chelsea. 6 now in the league, unbeaten, scored 18, only conceded 1, and even that goal was a bit of a shambles the way it actually went in. Unfortunately, it broke Zinsberger's clean sheet record, but I'm sure she's going to get a few more clean sheets to put this away. Did you go to the? No, it wasn't Leicester. Did you see the game, Lottie?
Yeah, I was watching from home on Sunday. Yeah, I was watching from home on Sunday. Unfortunately, my ride kind of failed, so I ended up staying at home and watching it on the BBC. Okay. But yeah, no, I can always rely on the girls to bring me a good score. Obviously, we were playing Chelsea beforehand, but I wasn't too worried about that. But when we went into the women's game, I kind of expected us to win sort of 4-5-0. We won there at the King Power 5-0 last season.
Yeah.
We went up there last season just off a loss, and it took us a minute and a half to get our first goal through Beth Mead.
Yeah.
So it didn't take us very long to recover and sort of find our stride again. But the game overall is what I expected from the girls. Straight attacking football, and just no messing around.
Was dreadful weather, innit? Like it was pissing rain in the first half. Like it was absolutely horrendous.
I was relieved they didn't go.
Wow, it's just some weather, like you know.
Yeah, no, the weather was something else over the weekend. It was just non-stop rain.
But yeah, like, and it's good to see because as we were talking before the show started, like, we do have a bit of problems with Williamson and team being in the back missing for us, you know, like it's actually quite tough, but we came quite good through the last couple of games. The impressive 5-win against Lyon away, without that too. The dreadful money. What I'm mostly surprised about is Frida Manum. It's like she really keeps Wiedemeyer out of the team, doesn't she? She scores goals and I think Reeve doesn't get a look in.
Yeah, well, at the moment, there's not a bit. Let's be serious. Since they've got COVID during the Euros, she's not been herself. Yeah. I've noticed that on the pitch. She's not as involved as she normally is in Meadow Park. There's something going on there. That's why at the moment she's got her leave of absence. Sorry. And when you give Frida the opportunity, she'll take the ball by the horns. And it's just nice to see her back playing again and smiling and obviously getting the goals. I think she's had 3 in a row now. Yeah,
like, which, as I said, like, you know, like, he gave her the chance, you know, Jonas, and she's really taken a thing. And it's great to see, like, we're scoring goals from all over the shop. I know, like, Black Stanius got another goal, but she would be on the more average, you know, goal scorers, you know, like, and Caitlin Ford and that corner. It was actually, I don't know if anybody's seen this today, like, there was a comparison. Saka scored a goal Saka put the corner in, and Gabriel put it in. Is actually Steph Curry actually did exactly the same, like and it just went in, which is great to see, But it's so strange that it happened like in 2 hours in the difference, nearly mirrored goal. Like it's absolutely incredible, But yeah, it's another great win, and you said since the Spurs game. And I know you said you've been in the Spurs game in the Emirates, where it was I wouldn't say sellout crowd, but like a historical big crowd, I think with 49,000, which is so good to see. And the next match is against Man United, again in the Emirates, and looks good as well. That there might be, don't know if they're going to break it, because it might not be the same thing for it, but look, they might get close to it.
I don't think they will. Because the lower tier is completely sold out. All those tickets have gone. There's very few people sitting upstairs that weekend. From what
most of the people probably gone to Qatar to watch the World Cup, so they might not be in London.
Well, I'll still be watching the girls. I'm kind of sitting with Katie on her views with Qatar. I won't be watching the World Cup. I will be watching the Women's Champions League, and I will watch the WSL until they go on their winter break.
They might take us over the World Cup anyway. Actually, talking about Katie, I don't know if you've seen that, boys. Yesterday, Katie was in town. One of our guys, he went to queue in Tala in the Dun store, and he get our frame autographed. 2.5 hours he was standing in the queue. So it just shows you, where Irish women's football is at the moment. Qualifying for the World Cup, and I think that's really, really good to see, and they've been on an international break. I think they play Morocco on the 14th next week. So that's where Katie is in town. But it's good to see the Irish line is still there. We said, maybe like her sister, she's actually quite good as well. So she's in I think it's the under 18s, what she's playing for at the moment for the Ireland team. So which is quite good. Did you see the game, guys, or did you have a look at the highlights? Can we read first?
Yeah, I'd seen the highlights all right, and I had seen that the similar result, Lottie, as you were saying last season, that they absolutely hammered Leicester. So I think it shows the consistency within the women's team, and I think you can see across I suppose both the women's team, the men's team, and the under 21s, all of them are top of the league, which I mean that just goes to show that there's good foundations in the club, and there's the right method for, I suppose, fitness levels and monitoring that as well. I think for the women's team, they've always been successful really in recent years, and I think I agree with you, Lottie, in one sense. If you ever wanted Arsenal side not to let you down, it's definitely the women's team.
Yeah, we're still the only English women's team to raise the Champions League. So if you're ever seeing champions of Europe, you'll never sing that to Chelsea. It's us. We're the only team that can sing that, and I absolutely revel in it. It was a long time ago. I'll admit I wasn't watching it at the time. It was this is the back in the days of Alex Scott. Because she was the quadruple winner as well, with, among quite a few other players that you see on the screen as pundits now. But it's just brilliant. You can always rely. If something goes wrong with the men, I can promise you can rely on the girls to fix your day. I promise, that is a guarantee.
But it was for the English women to lift the trophy, after 66, the men couldn't lift the trophy.
Do you know what?
They had to go and lift it.
Wembley for that was just something else. I just sat there and I was just taking it in, and I just couldn't believe it. That whole stadium was mostly England fans, and it was just incredible just to see them go and get that one against Germany, because it's the age-old story with England and Germany.
Yeah.
But obviously, with the women's game, we're a bit more civilized. We don't do stupid things, so to speak.
It is actually amazing, because I remember when Ozzy sent in the pic with his daughter when in the Spurs game, and all of us see Spurs fans, you see Arsenal fans, are that would never happen in the men's game. That is just not possible, isn't it?
At this point, the culture difference within the two different games is completely different. Although you can be sitting amongst Spurs fans, there is that rivalry there, but it's getting more fierce and fierce as it goes, and they're starting to split fans up. But I think my first North London derby, which is last season, we were there was only just filled the East Stand up, and it was all mixed, and it kind of spread up into Block 12, Block 8 in the North Bank. But it was all completely mixed, and it was quite calm. We're singing the Spurs songs, and they're sitting there sort of being quiet because they're getting their backsides kicked as usual. Because we in the WSL we've never lost to Spurs. We've drawn once, which was last season. We've never lost to Tottenham Hotspur, and we never will. I can guarantee you that. Never will lose to them, and it's a glorious record to keep hold of because it's Tottenham.
100%.
And all we seem to do is smash records. I mean, as you said earlier, Martin, we now hold the longest unbeaten run. In the WSL, which is 14 games.
And to be fair, like, I mean, I don't know, like, if you want to put your head out for a prediction for the United game. I know, like, United are playing quite well. Like, you know, they're only in the WSL, like, as a professional team. I think it was a year or two. So they're not too well, but they're on top now with us, you know. But they lost against Chelsea, so I can't see us losing to that either. I would say like I don't know, like probably a 3-0 or 3-1. I think that would be my prediction now, because we're playing in the Emirates as well. The atmosphere is just going to be really, really good. So I'm going to put my neck out of that and put a 3-1 onto it. So hopefully that's going to be the result. I don't know about yourself.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna go with 3-0. I don't think Nikita Paris is going to get anywhere near that goal. Lotta Wobber-Moy has actually brought her game up on another level this season alongside Steph Catley. As you said earlier, we've lost Leah Williamson and Rafaeli, which is kind of heartbreaking because they're the best two centre-backs in the world right now. But they'll be back in about a month or so. So they'll be back for the Champions League games in December.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So that's again, they're fighting for that as well, and then they play in Juventus as well. I think that's the next game then in the Champions League.
And then it's Lyon.
Yeah. So look, there's plenty of football in beside the World Cup. So like we can definitely have something else if you want to have a look something else. And we will definitely on our show we either gonna do the women's game or we do the Qatar World Cup as well. Like we're just gonna see like how the Arsenal players are doing on the World Cup front as well. But yeah, look, it's great to see, and I'm sure we're gonna have a few more discussions and a bit of insight into the WSL Champions League, you know, like, and yeah, we might see how we can cover games like straight after the game even, or whatever it is, and see how we all go. You know, I think it's gonna be fascinating, and it's good to see, and hopefully we can imagine 3 top teams in the end of the season. That would be fantastic, wouldn't it? That'd be a clean strike. Never mind.
I don't want to slip up like we did last season and give it away to Chelsea. I mean, there's 7 goals behind us at the moment, and that's the only thing keeping us up the top. Yeah. So I just
fingers crossed. Like, you know, like as I said, hopefully we beat Man United and see when. For me, the only team that have a chance to win or win against us or like compete against us is Chelsea. So we'll see how them games come. They're going to be some absolute super games. So I'm looking
Frank
forward
Kirby
to them.
and Sam Kerr are fully fit.
Yeah,
that's the only way around it.
They
cause chaos.
Exactly, and hopefully, but then Williamson and Rafael are going to be back as well, so that will help us. But okay, like just not to keep it too long, because I was giving out to Jonathan that he was like 50 minutes on the last podcast, and we said we only have a half an hour. But we do have another game to go, and that's the Brighton game, the old Carabao, the Carling Cup, the Carabao Cup, the League Cup, which is upon us, and God knows we might win that before we actually play another Europa League game. You never know what that's gonna happen. But the first hurdle, I think we stumbled last season on it, so like don't want to be putting too much on it. But yeah, it's against Brighton. Gonna be tomorrow 7:45. As I said, we're gonna have a look if you find the link, and we're gonna post it in the social media if you do find some, so people can have a look at it. But yeah, 7:45 early kickoff. It's not going to be in the River Bar, so we're not going to be meeting as a supporters club, so everybody has to watch it themselves. But I read in the preview today in the interview with Arteta, he said he's going to play a strong team. He said it's as important as the Europa League, and I do agree in some way, because I think one of the issues we had last year is that we've been kicked out of the cup so early that we just didn't get we didn't get the younger players to play. And for instance, like Lokonga was then being put in the end of the season, you know, like we never really played, had to put in for party. So as long as we can keep in any kind of cup and get the younger players or the fringe players, you know, give them the game, I think that's going to be helpful for all of us, you know. And so let's see how he goes. You know, I don't know what he means with a strong team. I just can't see that he's going to put on the top 11. I just can't see that. But I think what it means with a strong 11 is not going to put in the academy players. That's what I believe it is. I'm not quite sure exactly what he is going to play. But what do you think are going to start with Craig? Who do you think, or what do you think is going to happen tomorrow?
Yeah, I seen, like you said earlier on the website, he said he's going to go strong. Yeah. I think it might be a bit stronger than people are thinking, because there's a lot of players who won't go to the World Cup.
Yeah.
You might want to play them. In terms of prediction for team wise, let's say you might play Turner, Cedric, Holden, Gabriel, Tierney, Elneny, Lakonga, I'd say Vieira. I think Odegaard will probably play as well, because he's not going to the World Cup with Norway. I'd say Nelson and Eddie might start then. Brighton, I don't, to be honest with you, I don't think it's a competition that both teams will be crying if they, got knocked out. But, you have to think of it as well. If you get through to the next round, you're only 2 or 3 rounds away from the semi-final, and, we have to be aiming for every cup this year. Although we're top of the league now, we might come second or third, or fourth even. And, to have a cup with coming in the top 4 would be a brilliant 100%. Season. Although now we're top of the league, 13 games in, we're all thinking, can we win the league? And obviously, it'll be disappointing then. But, to go to Wembley in March, February, March, whatever it is for the Carabao Cup, in the final, you have to go and try win it. The more you go through the rounds, I think you take it more seriously. Obviously, if Arteta was to play like say Nwaneri, or Real Waters, a few kind of academy players tomorrow, I wouldn't be disappointed.
No,
I'm kind of glad he'd be given them an opportunity. I don't know, to be honest, how strong Brighton might go. I think they'll probably mix and match a few players as well, and play a few of their squad players. They might actually play Evan Ferguson, who's 17, 18-year-old from Ireland.
Yeah.
He went to Brighton a few years ago from Bowes. He's been doing unbelievable there at the under-23s. He's doing well for the Irish under-21. So you might actually see him up against the likes of Holden and that. In terms of prediction, I think we might win 2-1. But I'm nearly certain that if this stays a draw, it's straight to penalties. So, hopefully Matt Turner might have a good night on the penalties.
Yeah, you ever say look, Turner didn't concede a goal, so he did concede a penalty in the first game against Zurich, but beside that, he look again, and it's just like we said that before. If you don't see a keeper, you don't know how good he is, and I know he doesn't feel the most safest hands, but again, we didn't concede a goal.
I think he's done well, Martin, for the games he's played.
That's what I'm saying. It's very, very hard, to judge somebody without really seeing them week in, week out. So yeah, I feel the same. I think we're gonna play a strong enough team with the players who are not gonna go to the World Cup, because they will have a little bit of rest. They're going to Dubai afterwards anyway. So 2 more games and that's it, boys. Then you put your feet up.
I'm hoping that if we are maybe 2 or 3-0 up, we can bring on the likes of Matt Smith, Sergeant Catalan.
Yeah. And exactly, and them players will be definitely on the bench, and it's going to be some experience for them as well. Brighton, as I said, I'm not sure, what they're going to do. Look, they're not a bad team, they beat Liverpool. Who did they win? It's Chelsea. Yeah, so that's kind of again, this is just but the League Cup is going to be different. I don't think it's going to play like a full team either, but it's just we always said it before. If we turn up and we want to win the game, we can beat any team. Doesn't matter who you're going to put in front of us. It's the attitude of the players, and I think that changed a lot in the last couple of months. So they will go in. They want to win this game. They don't want to be losing. Nobody wants to lose, so they will go and want to win this game. They're playing at home. They have any chance for it. So I think, Ian, what do you think?
Yeah, so I think he's play is strong enough. The play is strong enough side. I agree with Craig. I think it'll be mixed, though. I think he will have likes of Matt Turner in as well, and I think he'll play the likes of Elneny and stuff like that too. But I think I would play Jesus. I think he's crying out for a goal. I think this is the perfect kind of game that I feel he'll score. And I think if he gets 1, I do believe he's going to get. He's 100%. He's going to go back into kind of a good scoring form, because if you remember at the start of the season when he got 1, he was bagging them in. You know, and I just think he just needs a break. Like, he does everything right. He runs back. He puts tackles in. Like, he's such a team player. All he's missing is that. And I think it annoys me that, like, you have the likes of Gary Neville and a few of the Sky Sports pundits all, like, slating him. And I'm like, he does more than most strikers are doing. Like, I mean, they're comparing him to, like, Nunes. And, I mean, like, Nunes, he scores goals, but, like, does he run? Like, does he run back?
Did he really? How many goals did Nunes score? 2? I think so far. Like,
similar amount to Jesus.
Did he? Yeah. Well, not in the Premier League, though.
Maybe overall.
I think
probably overall, like, you know, look, if I don't think he's the same player because he was, like, you know, like, as you said, he has much more influence on the game than any Nunes ever did, you know.
Absolutely.
Like, the problem is you have, like, a fella like called Haaland, you know, like, who's setting the bar at the moment, you know. Anybody against him looks bad. So that's just crazy, like, you know. So, and I really think that I'm not sure if he's gonna play Jesus. Like, as much as desperate he wants to play, he's picked for the Brazil squad. You know, I think he really wants to. I think for himself, he wants to score a goal. I don't know if he want to risk it. That's another thing. Like, we'll see. I'd be very surprised. He might bring him on late on. I don't know if he wants to play. We'll see. But yeah.
No, but I think even with just in terms of what Craig said as well about the Carabao Cup, I think we have to take it seriously. Like, same as
100%. Yeah.
Like, it's also like believe it or not, like, I mean, okay, when it used to be called the League Cup, we've won it, but since it's been called the Carling Cup or the Carabao Cup, we've not won it for many years. So I think it's definitely a cup that would be nice to have. And again, as we kind of all kind of mentioned, if we're sitting third or fourth and it's come to the end of the season, you want to be looking back on, and, like, especially for the way that we've played all season, they deserve to win something. You know, so I think, like, they need to have a trophy there or something to say, something to kind of show for all the hard work that they've done.
Okay, perfect. And Lottie, what do you think? So, did I ask you already, or did
No, you haven't asked me at all yet. First of all, I really hope it doesn't go to penalties, and I want it to be done at full time because it's going to be chucking it down with rain, and I'm going to be in that ground tomorrow night. So, Craig, if it happens, it's your fault. No, I want Jesus to start. He's been banging on that door for a goal after that header over at Stamford Bridge. It was just like, how did he miss it? Yeah. Even he knew how did he miss it. Yeah. Jesus, he's got to play, but I would like to see a bit of Eddie. We haven't seen Eddie's normally out in the cup games. I'd love to see Reece Nelson again. After the other, like, a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah,
a few games ago. I've watched so many games of football.
Against Forest.
Last week I should say. After that, but I just never saw it coming from Reece. But I expect to see players like Vieira playing alongside, like, Martin Odegaard, Kieran Tierney. I actually think Ben White will play ahead of Cedric. I'm not Cedric's biggest fan. I can't really trust him. So that's the only question mark for me. Who plays over the back at right back? But I expect to see, like, Vieira in the middle with Partey, or hang on.
Look, Congo might play it, you know.
Yeah. The thing is, with Sambi, I think he does need some time out. I used to watch him over with Anderlecht, and he is something really special. But he just hasn't found his feet over here yet. He needs a loan spell, maybe done in the Championship, just to toughen him up. And then come back and see what he's got before we start kind of saying, I'll get rid of him next season. Kid's on the kid. I mean, Vincent Kompany said it. Henri said it. If they're saying it, there's got to be something there. I don't know what you guys think, but there's got to be something in there, because I've seen glimpses of it, but it's a confidence issue with him, I think, especially after that Liverpool game.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, look, I think it's going to be an interesting game anyway. And you're right. Like, I think with Sambi, it really depends, I think, who we're going to buy in January. If we buy well and we can afford to send somebody out, I think Marquinhos is going to go on loan. Probably Sambi might go out anything, but he's doing well for the academy, you know. But I think it would do him the world of good, you know. But it really depends who we buying, who's in the team. If we can afford to get him a loan spell for half a season, why not? I think Smith Rowe is coming back. You know, he has a chance, you know, to to go in that team as well. So look, a competition is going to be tough, you know. So like he really needs to, even if it's a good project, you know, but he needs to be toughening up and he needs to be getting better, and that's what it is, and he's going to get the chance for it. And look what happened with Saliba. You know, you go away 2 years, you learn your trade, and you come back and you're an absolute mountain in the back. That's what you want. And if that is like a loan spell, what that does do to you, and that's the proof for it, then let's go for it. You know, it doesn't mean he has to, his Arsenal career might be over. But yeah, he needs game time, and that's what it is. So look, we're nearly in the hour mark, so I'm just gonna make that quick. And so hopefully I'm going for 3-1. I think we play at home. I think we can really put this to bed as well. Sign off with a win against Brighton, and then hopefully against Wolves on the weekend as well. It would be an absolute amazing end of before World Cup season. Be top of the league, still in the Carling Cup, concentrate in the Europa League, and then let's see what happens in the next 6 weeks, and then it's Christmas already. So that's the mad thing about it. But yeah, listen, guys, thanks very much. I think it was a really good show. Thanks, Lottie, for your premiere today. I'm pretty sure we're going to see a lot more for you. And it's especially now in the World Cup when we're talking probably more at the women's team. And yeah, like let's hopefully. Guys, thanks again for coming, Ian, Craig. Craig, I probably going to see you. I don't know if you see you on Sunday or not. Like I don't know. We have to talk about that because Sky Sport coming over.
Yeah.
So we have a look. They do no promo here. But yeah, like thanks again for coming, guys. Home, like, subscribe, put some comments in, and if you have any Dublin Goonerettes who want to join, leave a comment as well, and we might get a counterpart for Lottie from the Irish side. You never know. Might get Katie on, maybe. We never know. You know, just whenever she has time, we see if we can arrange something like that. But guys, it was good again. Let's hope you have a good time. And you're the only one, Lottie, who doesn't have to worry about his stream tomorrow. You have it live, which is great. Guys, thanks very much.
Cold stand instead.
Yeah, well, I'd rather sit in the cold stand than not find the stream.
That's true. 100%. Always.
All right. Listen, thanks very much. It was a great show, and we'll see you again soon. Thanks very much.
Cheers, guys. Thanks.
See you later.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers. Bye. Thank you. Bye.